Am I, 29M, going crazy? Or did my 26F fiance cheat on me during Stampede? So this happened during Calgary Stampede, a country music city-wide fest with rodeos and concerts. I was unable to attend this year as I was visiting family in South America. My fiance joined me on this trip to visit my family but had to return early as her workplace highly encourages networking during Stampede. She works in O&G, so this is a great time of year to network with current and potential clients. Had no qualms about her going without me as we've been together since university and are due to get married next spring. However, I was a bit unnerved when I got a bunch of drunken texts from her on the first day. Since this is her first time going for work, I wasn't really expecting her to get drunk or rowdy. Given that her company is pretty formal, way more formal than the tech company I work for. These texts were sent at like 12 p.m. so I was like, hey, slow down or you will regret it. Which apparently annoyed her and she didn't really text me until she got back home at 7 p.m. NBD, right? Well, the second day was even worse. She kept updating her Snap stories with just shot after shot. And was always surrounded by a bunch of dudes. Apparently her firm was showing around a bunch of Brits who were quite rowdy, which is why the second day devolved into even more drinking. The guys were very clearly flirting with her and were even a bit handsy. They kept touching her and pulling her into hugs. So I was not very pleased. That night she messages me at 11 p.m. saying that she only just got home. Now it's day 3 and I am pissed. My future bride-to-be has been getting plastered hanging around a bunch of dudes using work as a flimsy excuse. It also doesn't help that her outfits consisted of short skirts or sundresses to fit in the country theme. So I tell her about my feelings and that her not going, or at the very least not drinking on the third day, would really help assuage my fears. Jealously, she says fine, and I'm cool with it, chalking it off to corporate pressure and anxiety for her odd behavior. My fiance never drinks. Even in uni, she was always the mama bear and took care of the drunkies instead of getting trashed herself. Now everything is fine, right? Nope, not in the slightest. So one of my good friends works for a rival firm in the same industry and was coincidentally attending the same industry event as she was, and I asked him to go say hi to the wife and take a selfie surprising her. He comes back with a video of her and him taking these massive tequila shots. Of course she's around those Brits and one of them has his hand right on the small of her back. In the video you can clearly hear the British guy saying, "Woo, knock 'em back," whilst looking appreciatively at her boobs. Of course she's wearing the flimsiest outfit today out of all 3 days. Not even sure how that's allowed, tbh. Usually she's in business formal attire for work events. I say nothing and don't text her that day until she FaceTimes me that evening. She is of course plastered and has a bunch of people over at our place. 2 of them I recognize as females from her workplace, but of course 2 of the Brits are also there. She says that it was their last day, so they are all going to a casino and that her place was right beside the casino. That is true, we are walking distance from the casino, so she invited everyone over to freshen up before going. I'm raging internally but can't get too angry as I don't want to freak her out and exacerbate the situation. That night she messages me at 12 a.m. to tell me she's finally home. She skipped the final day and this has been months since, but I cannot shake off the feeling she cheated. Especially as I asked her to try on this really sexy piece of lingerie I had bought her a few months prior. She said that she can't find it and made excuses for why there's no point of looking. I keep thinking she might have used it that night with one of the Brits. She was always beside the blonde one in both the corporate photos and the Snap Insta stories she was posting. Am I crazy? Or am I getting played? Bro, if you're still stewing about it months later to the point where you turn to Reddit for advice, then nothing we say is going to change your mind. Respectfully confront her and make your decision. Until you have actual proof, it's hard to say if she did or not. Ask her straight out. You should know her well enough to know if she is lying. If you don't ask her, you will never know it. It will eat at you. Man up and straight up ask her. I worked in O&G for years. And several years I had to do stampede with clients pretty much every night. Our poor marketers had to do it every night. It practically killed them. In O&G, it's expected that you'll do stampede events and golf tournaments. As a woman, one frequently has to deal with jerks who get handy at these events. Did she cheat? I'm leaning to the no side. She was messaging you by 12 a.m. If she'd been cheating, it probably would have been 7 a.m. when she was texting you. Stampede is one big week-long drunk. I have been in her situation with coworkers and drinking till all hours of the night in Calgary. And didn't end up cheating. There were several people there in the apartment with the Brits. And she did MSGU when she got home. She was in public and there were lots of people around. I have seen hookups on the spot or even in portable bathrooms. But nothing in your story suggests this was happening. Everyone gets flirty during stampede and acts like they are on a cruise. But going out for 3 days to party corporately is not unusual in certain industries for stampede. If she never MSG'd you, that would be shady. But she did when she got home. I don't see the smoking gun. You are not crazy. It is shady, but keeping it to yourself will not make the situation better. Talk it out and ask for answers. Y'all shouldn't be together if you got this much going on between you and you aren't talking about it. I would go mental if my BF texted me mid-festival that I should cut my drinking when I'm having a good time. Being in a relationship does not mean that women can't have fun anymore. In fact, if I couldn't have my 13 weekends per year at a festival with my friends without someone throwing a tantrum, it would be a huge deal breaker. I never think about cheating while at a festival. I just concentrate on dancing and having fun. I honestly don't hear evidence of cheating. Just her letting loose. She can't help it if someone stares at her boobs. Blaming her clothing is not cool. The hand on back does not send up any red flags on her part. Her hands weren't on anyone, were they? She told you when she made it home. She says fine. Did you touch on this point at all? Like the implication seems to be that you had a conversation and expressed a desire and she agreed to it, but that really she had no intention of following through. She could have pushed back. She could have made no promises. But she did to get you off her back, and even if she didn't cheat, the reality is she clearly lied. Bold face to your face. Is there a discussion to be had about the policing and etc.? Sure, she could have had it right then and you could have made your choices about your future. But she chose lying instead. She has established how easily and readily she can do that. Do I think she necessarily outright cheated? Not necessarily. And the idea she lost the nice lingerie would suggest she went to the event with the intent to wear it, which suggests less a random drunk hookup and her going there specifically to get wild, and I don't get the sense there is much indication of that. I think that you are linking them together speaks more to how agitated that week made you, and now it is bleeding into other things. Time to talk it out. I'm leaning she didn't cheat and was just having a good time. She was probably upset with you for grilling her about what she was wearing and doing. She was there for work, and probably didn't appreciate the interrogations of what was happening the whole time. She may have also thought you sent your friend to spy on her. Either way, I think it comes down to if you trust her or not. There is nothing in the sequence of events you described that points to anything except having fun. Nothing that indicates she was cheating. Doesn't sound like she cheated. But you are getting angry BC she was flirting and wearing skimpy clothes. Speaking as born and raised Calgarian, none of this is particularly abnormal stampede behavior. People carouse and drink and flirt, married or not. That your fiance is hot and scantily clad is also pretty par for the course. That all of these things happened at a work-sanctioned event is also de rigueur. She might have been having some flirty fun, as is customary, and likely brought in some new business as a result. But I doubt that she cheated, unless she has a history of that sort of thing. Your jealousy is on you to sort out. Sounds like she went to Stampede. That's just how this important cultural event works. Yeehaw. That said, your relationship is toast. Move on and start again with someone you can trust. Man, sounds like she got drunk at Stampede, like she said. Why 9 made about her outfit lol. I think you're being paranoid and the lingerie thing doesn't make sense. Dude, you may have some control anxiety issues. You definitely didn't say, "Hey, slow down or you'll regret it," in that text convo. I can tell what you said was more aggressive. You ask your friend to find her at a massive festival without her knowing so he could spy on her. You're wondering whether she misplaced lingerie at her own house while cheating. Personally, I would be anxiety-ridden after something like this as well. I understand how it feels. Coming from an outside perspective, if you want to continue the relationship, you have to let this go. If she does something in the future that crosses your boundaries or makes you uncomfortable in the same sense, I hope you don't put too much stress into it, and just leave. I would never do this if in a relationship. Even clubbing without my man would be a no from me. But that's just my opinion and my best friend does the same. If we get touched at all in public by a man, then we're going home. As a female too, we're usually on high alert when it comes to being touched by men. IDK man. Only marry someone if you're 100% like, yes. Also bringing other men in your home? Seems like your own property has been violated. That's your safe space. She didn't ask if she could bring other men into it, which says to me that there isn't enough respect. Sounds like she kept in constant contact. And you're jealous of the fact she was drinking and around guys. Let it go. This doesn't sound like she cheated from what you're saying here and her demeanor during and afterwards. I can understand feeling some type of way from all her carrying on while you're in another country. I would feel the same. But this sounds more like your jealousy and insecurity telling you something more happened than what you're describing. That doesn't mean that she should be letting dudes touch her inappropriately or being overly touchy. Either though. Especially she would be upset if you were doing the same.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.